had was when I moved next door to my mother in West Hartford, and it was March of 1996. And I had been doing some errands in the early afternoon, and I got home about 3 o'clock, and all of a sudden I felt deathly ill. I just couldn't believe it. It came on me so quickly. And I laid down on the couch, and I felt like a truck had run over me. About a half hour later, the door buzzer rang, and it was my brother and sister-in-law at the door, and they were there to visit my mother and then to take her out to eat. They wanted to know if I would go with them, and I said, "Oh, no way, I'm so sick." So they left, and after a while, I think it was probably 2 hours later, the telephone rang. And it was my niece Kathy, my sister Pauline's daughter. They all lived in Las Vegas. And I could tell just by Kathy's voice that something was wrong. She was calling to tell me that my sister had been in a terrible car accident. She had been revived twice and was now on life supports. And until the swelling in her brain went down, they would not be sure of the extent of brain damage. But her chances of surviving were not very good. Somehow I forgot all about being sick, and I immediately got up and went to the restaurant where my mother, brother, and sister-in-law were eating. And then we all came back, and we started calling the family and making preparations to go to Vegas for the next day to be with my sister before she died. It was there that I learned about the details of the accident. My sister was trying to cross the highway and got sideswiped by a pickup truck, spun around, went into the other lane, and was hit dead on with a cement truck. Now, that accident happened around noon. My sister Pauline was going home for lunch. And if you know, Vegas is 3 hours ahead of us. And so when it was noontime there, it was 3 o'clock Eastern time, when I felt so sick. And as I said, I felt like a truck hit me. Next to my youngest brother, this was my sister that I was closest to. Just before she was taken off life supports, it was the first, I administered to her the sacrament of extreme unction. This was the first time that I gave this sacrament since my ordination. I found this to be a synchronistic event. There are other places, thin places, and one of those places is in art or in music. And at the end of this program, I would like you to hear the song that, or the Lord's Prayer that was sung by a woman called Kathy Risby. And you're just going to hear the ending of it. And I think you'll see when you look at it that the people around were just felt the thinness that God had come through. I have one poem that I'd like to read to you about another woman that I saw when I first started working at the prison. And it's called Growing Up. And she made a dramatic recovery also before, and she's now out. She's no longer incarcerated. She called this Growing Up. High heels and pantyhose, what does it matter? I'm 12 years old. What does it matter the things I've seen? More than most at 17. What does it matter I can't go home? I'm a lady of the night and I'm never alone. What does it matter? I'm all grown up. At 12 years old, I filled my cup. It overflows with grown-up things like sex and booze and cocaine rings. What does it matter my eyes are black? Obviously, I deserve the slap. Or was it a punch? A grown-up kiss? I can't remember the cause of this. I couldn't stand. Perhaps I fell and ended up in grown-up hell. The circle comes and turns around, and now I stand on steadier ground. I'm all grown up. I'm 32. Now may I live like children do. May I play and dream and sleep. Now I lay me down to weep for childhood games I never played and innocence that can't be saved. Funny how I got reversed. The child is now the grown-up who came first. But what does it matter if at 12 I became a woman with an innocent soul? 20 years later it matters. You see to the child within me who is finally free and with God. I'd like to end the show with this blessing. And when I end it, then the Lord's Prayer will come on and end the show. May the Spirit of your soul lead you to find those thin places. May you be thankful to those who assist you at the critical junctures in your life. May the Christ energy envelop you with compassion and patience. And may your life bring you serenity, refreshment, and sufficient joy on the journey. Thank you for listening to this voice. Good evening.
To the Holy of Holies.